let's start at the very, very beginning, because this is a term a lot of people hear all the time. And I like to joke that everybody uses it, but no one really knows what it means. So SEO is just an acronym for Search Engine Optimization. And the truth is, that's really just a fancy way of saying, I missed this up, Search Engine Optimization. So you get it for talking and writing at the same time. This is just a fancy way of saying, how do you rank on Google? Or at least that's the modern day equivalent. What it's really getting after is, how well does your practice show up on the search engines? And of course, Google's not the only search engine. You've got Bing, Yahoo, all kinds of other like smaller search engines out there. But by and large, people really mean Google. You know, unless you're using a PC and it's tricked you into searching on Bing, most people are deferring to Google for their original search and then kind of seeing where things go. So search engine optimization refers to an entire genre of activities that are meant to help you rank higher when someone searches for you. Now, that searches for you can mean a lot of different things. So in its most basic form, I might type in dentist near me, or San Diego dentist, or La Jolla veterinarian. Those are examples of very basic Google searches, and certainly if you are a veterinary hospital in La Jolla and someone types in La Jolla veterinarian into Google, you really want to show up, and not just show up, you really want to be on page 1, and not just page 1, you really want to be top 3, if at all possible, or ideally that number 1 spot. So that concept, the idea that everybody wants to show up in the same place at the top of Google, has spawned an entire industry about SEO, which represents, like I said, a variety of different products, services, practices. Some are good, some are bad, some are white hat, some are black hat. Really, the list goes on and on. Let's get into some of the most basic concepts behind SEO. So obviously, in order to rank on a search engine, at least traditionally speaking, you need a website. So why do you need a website? Well, generally speaking, the search engines are an index of all the websites out there on the internet. So when you go to Google, type in a topic, in theory it's scanning every website in the world and it's delivering the ones that it thinks are most relevant to what you're looking for based on a million different factors. So your website is kind of like your internet address, your internet real estate, where that's the small piece of it that's been carved out for you. And so if someone is going to run into you or find you or is looking for you, that's ultimately where they need to end up. So most of the time when you're on Google and you're typing something in, the results you see are websites that you can click on, and then you leave Google and you go visit that actual website. So in a lot of ways, Google just helps you get to a website in a more efficient and helpful and useful way, and it helps you discover things you didn't even know were online. But more and more, it doesn't just have to be your website. Google might show someone your social media. So while yes, Facebook is a website, someone might be looking for Dr. Multimedia and Google might show them our Facebook page or our Instagram page, because those might be useful results for you as well. And Google's doing its best to show you everything. As we talked about last time, these days on Google Maps, you can also find people's reviews. You can get directions. Traditionally speaking, when you're talking about SEO services paying some outside company, crazy amounts of money each month to help with your SEO, they're specifically focused on making your website rank higher. So let's go back to an example. We've been doing dentist a lot, so let's mix it up a little bit. Let's go with something a little more informal. How about eye doctor? And let's put in, instead of I always do near me, let's go La Jolla. So eye doctor La Jolla. So this is if you're an optometrist, this would be a very typical search phrase, and anyone in La Jolla who's an optometrist would be interested in showing up for this. So we've got La Jolla Eye Care, we've got Gordon Wong, that's in the map, and then here is generally speaking what people are talking about. So Yelp is the first listing. The first practice I see appears to be claimed by Gordon Wong, Eye Designs and Optometry, and then La Jolla Eye Care, and then Dr. David Geffen, if I'm pronouncing that right, at the New Vision Institute. So generally speaking, if if the Eye Center of La Jolla, the LASIK eye surgery, hires an SEO company, it is with the goal of getting them to move from here, ideally up maybe to the top 3 or even the top 1. Simply put, traffic is internet terminology for people visiting your website, people coming to you online. So if your website got 200 visits last month, that is internet traffic that came your way. 200 people used the internet, wound up on your business, learned about you, and that's kind of the name of the game. Because if we reverse engineer this a little bit, what was the point of being number 1 on Google? Why is everybody fighting for that spot? Why is it a multi-billion-dollar industry to show as high on Google as possible? In a vacuum, there's no award for being number 1 on Google. That doesn't increase your bottom line. There's no financial gain simply for being at the top of Google. So why would people spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on it? Well, the idea is that the higher you are on Google, the easier it is for people to find you. And if it's easy for people to find you, then they will come visit you, which essentially will increase your traffic. So no matter what you're doing from an SEO perspective, if 10 other people are doing the same or better than you, you may not accomplish your ultimate end goal simply because there's not enough spots. So this idea that you're paying to be number 1 on Google, or there's a lot of fear around it. So if I tell you, you need to sign up with me for $800 a month in order to rank number 1, and you do that for 3 months, you say, Pras, I'm not number 1 on Google. And I'm like, you know what? We just need more time. And 3 months later, we're not there yet. Need more time, more time. 1 year later, after I've cashed, at this point, almost $10,000 of checks, we're not there at all. I'll say, well, we gave it a shot. Sorry, it didn't work out. There's nothing tangible or accountable to just the mere concept of SEO and just blindly paying someone to magically make you rise up the rankings. It's an easy thing to promise. It's an easy way to sell based on fear, especially fear of loss, but it's not as easy to prove that you're doing something on a monthly basis that's consistently helping. But you can take some matters into your own hands that will increase traffic to your website. So what are things that you could do that would increase traffic to your website? Well, one is you can tell people about your website. Story I have on that one is I used to travel all over the country going to conferences every weekend. I'm in the office more now. But one time, maybe 3 years ago, we're driving in a random city by an inconspicuous strip mall like we all do, dozens of times a week. And the little marquee came up for I think it was a dentist. And where you would normally see their phone number was their website. I think I still remember today. I think it was like silverspringsdentist.com. And it took me a second. I was driving by with a colleague, same industry, and we're driving by, and this was a couple years ago, so it was more novel. I said, hey, did you just see that? They put their website up on the marquee. And we realized that if it was a phone number that we were driving by, in the seconds that you're driving by, you're not committing a phone number to memory. Most people don't even know the phone numbers of their friends at this point, let alone a random business that you're driving by. But the fact that they put a website on there, one that I could read and remember, Silver Springs Dentist, right to this day, they now equipped me with the means to go get their phone number and any other information about them, the address, the hours. So they took one of those most prime real estates, where you put your business name, the lighted up sign that rotates, and they slapped their phone number on it years ago, and they said, forget the phone number. If anybody needs the phone number, they'll just go to the website. Okay, so how can social media create traffic to your website? Well, we kind of alluded to this earlier, but if your social media posts aren't linking back to your website, or when you do something noteworthy, you're not sending people to the website, you're missing out on great opportunities for traffic, which is in turn going to limit your SEO potential, meaning it could have been better than it was. So social media can be used as a way of going out to where people are, capturing their attention, bringing them back to the website that you're working so hard to get ranking on Google. And I love doing this especially for new practices. We joke around here, nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I wonder what's new on my optometrist website. I want to go check that out. Let me see what's going on there. But everybody wakes up in the morning, it seems like, and goes to Facebook or Instagram to see what happened last night, what Joe had for dinner, what Aunt Susie's up to on vacation, and they're flipping through. So now, if you can grab their attention on social media, if you can get them to stop even for a fraction of a second and think about you, and you deliver them something interesting or appealing, it's a staff birthday, wish them happy birthday on our website, or whatever the case may be, link them back, bring traffic. Now you are creating traffic that you control. They literally would not have gone to your website that day if not for that social media post. So you can control that, and the better your social media and the more people that see it, the more people you can get to your website. So when I looked up eye doctor in La Jolla, we have La Jolla Eye Care, 5.0 off 15 reviews. If you can't see that, expand it out. Gordon Wong, 4.8 off 38 reviews. Dr. Stephen Taman doing a wonderful job getting in the top 3, but no reviews. Now, out of these 3, who would I pick? I say it's a little more even because, well, I still like quantity and quality together. So if I see 4.8 off 38, yeah, you had an unhappy patient or 2, but hey, you got 38 people to leave reviews. Play Eye Care 15, not bad at all. I love seeing the 5.0, but you know, I would personally go here. I could see the argument for there having no negative reviews. I click on that, right? I've got some information. I can get my directions. I can share. I can read those reviews, but also, boom, I can get to your website with one touch. So check it out. Offline marketing. So what the heck is that? So with all the rage being online marketing and websites and social media and all that, it's easy to forget what started this whole thing anyways, which was marketing in real life. So what I like to explain is that Google wants to show the best results. So if I am typing in best Italian restaurant in San Diego, if Google knew who the 10 best restaurants were, that's who they would want to show for that first page. Because the more useful Google is, the more people will use it, better for Google. So that's their goal. But Google doesn't have a clue who's actually the best restaurant, the best Italian restaurant in San Diego. So they have to draw from as many factors and algorithms as they can come up with to accurately predict who might be the best. So a website that gets a lot of traffic, great. Social media that gets tons of activity, reviews, actually being good about, being a good restaurant. And Google's going to try to sort it out. Now, I'm sure a lot of people on page 2 would tell me that their restaurant's better than the restaurant on page 1, but usually that's going to be a more subjective measure. Google's trying. So by that, my only point to that is Google wants to mimic real life. Google's not necessarily trying to live in a vacuum where the Google world is different than the real life world. They want the search engine results to be a fairly accurate reflection of what's going on in the world. So obviously, so maybe not even something that you do, but something everybody talks about, word of mouth. So how does word of mouth usually operate these days? Well, I'm out to lunch. I explained to Greg, I started running on a treadmill last week, which is true. But I'm a bit of a bozo, and I figured that it had an incline setting that goes to 15, so why not get the most out of running on this treadmill? Incline 15, which I did, and I ran for about a week, and now my lower back hurts, because if you Google this, you really shouldn't run on too steep of an incline on a treadmill. It was a bad idea. So, long story short, I'm out at lunch with Greg. Hey Greg, I've got some lower back pain. I know you mentioned you see a chiropractor once in a while. Who do you use? And he tells me, oh yeah, you can go down the street, Dr. Shaker's on the other side of the freeway. Go check him out. Well, my next step is not to ask Greg for the phone number for Dr. Shaker. Be like, oh, what's the name of the practice? I pull out my mobile phone. I type it into Google. I try to get to the website, check out the hours. If there's a way I can quickly fill out a contact form and you guys will call me back because I'm on lunch, I don't really want to talk right now. That's kind of a dream scenario. But at the least, the word of mouth in real life got me to pull out my phone. Let's just go phone. Got me to get my phone out, which allowed me to get on the internet, which created traffic to the website. So increasing your word of mouth in a normal world, it usually happens in social settings, can get people's phones out and get them on the website, so traffic there. If you put your website on maybe the sponsorships, whether it's your school, and remember, you're a local business, you're in your local community. So if anything that you can do to promote yourself in your small little area, forget the entire World Wide Web, right? The internet, that's a massive sea. Maybe just focus on the 2 square miles around you and what sponsorship opportunities there are, and use those to do some good in your community, and make sure your website is on there, or give them an incentive to visit the website. Hey, you know, if you're a Falcons alumni, get 10% off, or mention the score of the game, and we'll give you a free bag of, free sample of dog food. Whatever it is that ties the community aspect with your business. Not only one, get your name out in front of people, but again, they're going to be likely to remember the website, or who knows, they're sitting there at the game realizing, oh yeah, shoot, I need to book an appointment. Let me see what's available, pulls it up, or maybe you're one of the parents on the team and you know the other parents, whatever. The point is, you're getting your website out there in local sponsorships, and that can create interest in real life, and just goodwill, of course. The third would be local publications. So whether it's a local magazine, whether it's just a neighborhood newsletter, any publication that's local usually is looking for local stories. And if you can get written up in one of those, ideally a bigger one of those, but if you can get written up in one of those, people will wake up on Sunday morning, they'll read about you, and some people that read about you will immediately turn to Google to go get more information about your business because they're interested. See, we react so quickly these days. I'm not reacting right now to things I read this morning. If I was interested when I read it this morning, I quickly hopped online, Googled what I needed to Google, figured it out, and I moved on. Or I wasn't that interested and I've already forgotten. So that reaction is so real time that the more little moments you have like this offline, the more traffic you can generate and draw to your online presence, which kind of strengthens the whole thing. And then the last one, I was actually talking about to Dr. Watts about this morning, is your Chamber of Commerce. An incredibly old school idea, I know, but they do exist, at least in most local areas. And they are local business owners, and they often want to sell you something, but fine. It's a network of all of you, and it's people that are interested in seeing the community businesses succeed. And not only might they have some resources, but just by joining it, getting the word out, seeing what events they have, seeing anything that you can do to get in front of someone sparks the conversation and the idea offline, which can quickly, whether through phone or laptop or business card, lead to your online marketing. Every doctor, I believe, gives the same 3 to 5 minute speech virtually every appointment all day long, right? I do the same thing on my calls for my clients. You guys likely do the same thing for your patients. This is what to do after the procedure. These are some tips for at home. These are our recommendations. So take something you're already giving away for free in terms of advice. Put the information in a nice, easy to display way on your website. Let's just add the fourth one right here. And when you're giving them the speech, you can still give them the speech because it's important. And as you see them gloss over, say, hey, just so you know, everything I told you is available on my website. Go to patient resources. You'll find all of this information. That way, when you're trying to explain it to your spouse later, or if you're a kid and you need to tell your parent, or vice versa, you can at least do it with all the information in front of you instead of trying to paraphrase what the doctor said and then it comes all jumbled. Now, you'll be shocked at what percentage of people that came in and were normally trying to listen to you now know it's on the website and will visit the website and look that up at some point in the future. And even though they're not new patients, right, what did you just create? You created traffic to your website. And yes, some people might say, but Pras, they are already patients. Why does it matter? All traffic is still considered equal. If people are coming to you because they know you or they're discovering you on Google, all of that benefits your website. And heck, these people are likely to stay longer. They might find some information on there that they didn't know about. They might start thinking about a cosmetic or an elective procedure. You might just earn their trust and confidence even more than they had. So, long story short here, let's cross this out, let's cross this out. I hope that I've taught you some SEO basics. If nothing else, my goal is that I've clarified a lot of the confusion or terms or words that you've heard in the past and given you just a little better vocabulary, and who knows, maybe I've even highlighted some problems or fears that you have about what you're currently doing. But if you want to talk about SEO, let's first talk about traffic to the website in all its forms, and then let's talk about your offline marketing And if you're doing those two at a really high level, most of the time, this is going to be just fine. And if you're doing these at a terrible level, you can invest all you want into here. You're probably not going to get the results that you were hoping for. And worst case, you might actually lose a lot of money down the drain because you had something to make this medical. You had someone treating the symptoms and not addressing the underlying causes. So you can treat this all you want and it just keeps becoming a problem. You knock these out and you've potentially solved this issue for time to come. And these things change. So I didn't even get into one of the biggest parts of SEO right now, which is content creation. We'll do a whole talk on that. But I'm hoping for today, for Monday afternoon, I've given you guys enough to think about in the way of value here for listening in. And thank you again. You know, if the follow-up questions would be great. If you guys have been paying attention, all the topics I've been covering have been at a really basic level, trying to educate our client base as a whole, kind of raise the conversation. From there, I want to know where to dive deeper. I want to know what you guys are interested in, what you're confused about, and we'll really get into the specifics as we go. But for today, SEO, search engine optimization, if it helps, forget that, start using that word. It might reframe a lot of your questions and a lot of your problems. And as always, if you want to talk, if you're a current client of ours, we are available to you at 1-800-679-3309. You can email me at prasmurthy@drmultimedia.com, regardless of if you're a client or not. And if you're not a client and just want to learn more, check us out, send us a question. We'll feature you in your practice. If you just want us to look at what you've got going on and we'll break it down on one of these, I'll reserve 5 or 10 minutes a day to pull up a random non-client's online presence and tell you what we think. We'd be more than happy to do that as a free service to you guys. So for today, until next time, I'm Pras at Dr. Multimedia. Thanks for listening, guys.